Hello, my friends. I've been asked by several people to go over the 7 virtues of the Bushido Code. I don't know if I have done this before. I've probably done parts of this over the years, but I thought I would give my 2 cents to what these might mean and how they might apply to our life. Anything that I say today is obviously talking about myself as a person with all my faults, as well as people out there. So even though it might look like I'm lecturing to the audience, it's always, I'm looking for the fault in me first before I'm putting it on my students, etc. So when I have students that ask my opinion on things, when I give their opinion, I'm always teaching to myself first, because how can we have the audacity to tell people how to clean up their own houses or yards when ours are a mess ourselves? So I'm always self-critical more than anyone else out there about these things that I'm going to go over with you. But hopefully I'll try to apply these to the martial arts as much as I can. But as you guys know, most people that are watching this don't train in the martial arts, so this Bushido Code, these 7 virtues, probably can easily be translated to our places of work, our family life, and just a moral and ethical principle that we might want to follow in this modern 21st century. These are not religious in nature, so this is a secular teaching. These were probably based off of historical Japanese religions, perhaps Shinto, Buddhism, Zen, you name it, Confucianism. But you can apply these to whatever religious background or belief system that you might have. So just apply these. And that's what's really cool, is what I'm going to read here is very applicable to all of us out there. So let's get right into it. I hope you have some time to share. First of all, the Bushido Code, the word Bushido comes from Bushi, which means warrior, and then Do, which means the path or the way to do something. So this was the path or the code of the warrior, perhaps the samurai of ancient Japan. Now, from my historical, the stuff that I've studied, it wasn't really a written code until much later, because it would have just been something that the samurai did. He would have done this without having to have it written on the wall for him, this ethical and moral principle. And of course, servitude, which was the ultimate honor of the samurai, was to serve the daimyo, to serve his lord. It's a really barbaric way to think when we think about the individualism of America. We don't think about following so much as they did back then, but it was really considered moral and ethical to follow. They had a caste system, and this would have been drilled and inculcated into you since you were a child, of how to follow the Lord and to how to serve other people and to even take your own life if the cause most demanded it. Whereas nowadays that seems like a very weird way to think. Like, I'm not going to do what the government or the president says. I'm going to do what I want to do, or what's in my family's best interest. The hell with society. But it was very different back then. So we have to take all of these things and kind of evolve them into the 21st century. However, I think a lot of us out there, myself included, are hungry for a moral and ethical system that we can try to at least practice as best we can. We have a 14-point moral code that my teacher, Mr. Hayes, taught to me, and we talk about that literally every day here in classes at the dojo. But perhaps you don't have a moral or ethical code that suits you, and this might really fit into your way of living. So let's get into it. We have 7 virtues here, and I'm looking at a computer. The Bushido Code, the 7 virtues of the samurai, or the Bushi warrior. The first one is called Ghee, and Ghee means integrity or perhaps justice. So the first thing we ask is, what does integrity mean, and do I possess it? Have I seen it before? Do I know people that are filled with integrity, and how can I be a better person? So looking here, this is about making sure that we have the right way when we make a decision. We have the power to make a decision quickly, and it's about making sure that we don't become indecisive in our decisions. and they are based on the right reasons. Here it says, true warriors have true warriors have to be honest throughout their dealings with all people. He or she believes in justice, not from other people, but from yourself. To the true warrior, all points of view are deeply considered regarding honesty, justice, and integrity. So first of all, do we have integrity in our lives? In other words, when we say something to people, can it be written in stone? Can it be really trusted? When you say to someone, I am going to perhaps start a martial art and earn my black belt, do people believe what you say? Or have you done things in the past that has given them, reasons not to believe what you say? Perhaps you've told people in the past you're going to start something and then you don't finish it, which is all about integrity. And we've all been guilty of this. On January 1st, you start that new diet or something, and then by the third week, you've broken it. And someone's like, hey, how's that diet going? You're like, oh, it didn't last very long. Well, if you do that over and over again, you build up a pattern in your life. And what you do in your past is often pretty solid of what you're going to do in the future. Yes, people can change. All of us have the power to change, but it's really, really hard to do. Easy to talk about, but hard to follow. So the first code of the warrior was justice or rectitude, and how to really have integrity. When the warrior said he was going to do something, it was as good as done. When someone in the modern day says, I'm going to get my black belt, we want to be able to trust your word so that you actually follow through with what you say, which is part of the triple secret, the San Shin. So make sure that when you say something, you want to speak it and then do it. Follow everything we do by action. That would be the first code of Bushido. And believing in justice, even though justice might not serve our need, or it might seem cruel or cold, impersonal, sometimes justice comes much later in life. We may have to suffer something and then wait and be patient for that to come through with justice later on. We know in America the justice system might not be powerful, but so far it's the best system in the world, in my opinion. So making sure that we make a good decision, that is about the first virtue. And again, all of these we want to question ourselves. Am I living up to this, or am I failing it on a daily basis? What's really cool about this is you can take one of these and just work on one per day, or maybe one for a week, or one for a month. There are only 7 here. So we can really focus on these and write them down and try to live up to them, and then realize where we're failing. So Ghee, justice of the samurai. Number 2 is Rei, which means respect, or some call it Yu. It means courage. So, Rei is respect. So respecting other people. This is very true. It says a true warrior has no reason to be cruel to people. They don't have to prove their strength. It is important that in everything they believe, they must have respect to be polite in everything. The way that they live their life must be respectful to their elders, respecting life and respecting others' beliefs and places in life. So we're taught to respect people. And how I can tell how respectful someone is how they treat others. When we are in public and you watch people, how they deal with others. Are they cruel to the person at the drive-thru, or the person that they feel is below them in status or life? I can immediately tell what kind of person I'm dealing with about how they talk to others. Can they make eye contact? Can they have a calm and soothing voice versus someone who's abrasive? How do they treat people in public? And when they're at a restaurant, how do they treat the server? Or when they're on a plane, how do they treat the people around them? Do they hold the door open? These are all codes of the warrior. Perhaps the code in military military, you're often seeing a very respectful people. That's why we highly respect them, is because we see they're always saluting each other. They're always putting others before themselves. So this is Rei, which means respect. Warriors are courteous even to their enemies. So if we're on the mat and we are about to train, we bow to each other in respect. We bow after the technique, and we are very respectful of people that we deal with on a daily basis. Warriors are not only respected for their strength in battle, but also their dealings with others. How are we in business? Are we a respectful business person, or do we try to backstab people and climb the ladder? How do I respect my family? Am I a respectful person to my wife? Am I treating her with the utmost dignity? Am I treating my children with respect and trying to bring them up as powerful individuals, or am I stepping on them and trying to be strong by hurting them in some way? So how do I respect people? Are we polite when we deal with other people? This is really important. How do I treat the elderly? Do I take care of my parents and my grandparents, or do I kind of just let them die off at their own rate and only be concerned with my own way of living? You have to have heroic respect, and that is a very important aspect in the dojo. We teach the children to say yes sir and yes ma'am, and some people laugh at that nowadays. I do not. I believe that is extremely important. How you treat people is how they normally will treat you back. The golden rule applies to everybody. And those people who are respectful to others, when he or she grows up, I'm talking dealing with the youth, they're going to be the first person to get that call back on that job. They're going to be the first person that gets accepted into that college because of the way he or she carries themselves in public. This way of respect cannot be underestimated. And having someone who carried swords or perhaps a gun, you would want to be respectful, or they would take your life very quickly. And the code of the warrior, carrying a sword, many people carried swords back then, so you would have to be super polite so that swords weren't drawn out of the scabbard. Number 3, in this case, we're looking at benevolence or mercy, which is Ghee. Ghee is about benevolence and mercy. And these, just so you guys know, the order of these can be changed. So you might have a poster of these, or you can buy a poster online. They don't go in any particular order of importance. So in this case, I'm looking at Ghee, which is about mercy. Here, as a warrior, the samurai have the power to kill. However, benevolence is about making sure that you are balanced in how you think. It is about making sure that you also have sympathy and mercy at the right time. For the samurai, it was about making sure you fought for the right reason, and that if you had to kill someone, you did it for the right reason. And you believe that you also make sure that there was no need to kill. You would have mercy and sympathy on everyone. This is a really cool one, and I just want to check, cross-referencing a couple sources here. Having compassion for others, Ghee. Through your intense training and hard work, the true warrior becomes quick and strong. They are not as most people. They develop a power that must be used for good. They have compassion. They have their fellow man at every opportunity. So do we show compassion in our day-to-day life? When we know that we could hurt another, can we turn the other cheek? Can we be the person who looks weak but is actually much stronger by holding back anger and jealousy and things like that, negative states of mind? This is something that we need to develop more of. They say there are 2 sides to a powerful person, and this has to do with strength on one side, and on the other side you have compassion. 2 wings of a bird that make it fly. If you have a one-winged bird, it will flop around and die on the ground and be killed by prey or a predator. So we have to have strength in one wing and compassion in the other in order to fly a straight and true line through life. Are we compassionate in life? Do we help people out enough? Or are we so self-centered that we often don't think about others enough to put them ahead of us? This would be a sign of a great warrior, to have this compassion and to have mercy on other people. Knowing that we could take a life. Training in the martial arts, we learn hundreds of ways to take a life. And we also have to learn how to stay and hold a life and put the sword back and open our fists and say, I'm going to let this situation go. Even though we could fight, perhaps to the death, I'm going to let this go. It's not worth us getting arrested for. It's not worth us hurting each other. I'm not going to risk the people that I love around me just to solve an issue over a parking spot or something like that. So having compassion. And how to develop the power that must be used for good versus evil purposes. Do we work for the good of others, or are we working for selfish motives? Having compassion is one of the 7 virtues of Bushido. Let us look at the next one, which is about, let's talk about courage, which is you. You means courage, or heroic courage. Hiding like a turtle in a shell is not living at all. Do you have courage? Do we have courage? It's really hard to muster up nowadays, especially where those of us who hide behind a computer screen all day. We don't have to be in public in order to feel like we can get our point across. So it's about risk. Taking risk is about courage. It's living a life that is completely, fully, and wonderfully full of courage. And we know to be a warrior, he or she must be courageous. This is about, again, making sure what we do is right, believing in something and fighting for it. If we are raised a particular way, we have to question everything. We must be skeptical in our way of thinking. Although our elders may have taught us things, it may no longer be valid in life. So this is not teaching you what to think, but how to think. Having the courage to question others' beliefs and say, no, I don't believe that. I am going to research it for myself. You might be right, but you might be wrong. I might be right, but I might be wrong too. So always turning the mirror back is about courage. And this is about looking into yourself and looking into your soul and really saying, am I right about this, or could I be wrong? I need to ask for help. I need to ask opinions of people who are smarter than me. This is about making sure we do and we believe in what we say and do. Having the courage to go out and chase your dream and write down your goals, that takes courage. The strongest people that I know go out and conquer their goals. Sure, they fall down, they fail, but they don't stop. A rolling stone gathers no moss. So I want to make sure that I, as a teacher, as a human, as a father and a husband, and whatever role that I might have that day, as a business person, I want to have courage and take risk and say, yeah, we might fail, but let's try it. Let's try it. This is what life is about. Let's not hide and hope and pray. No, that's not going to work. I want to go out and do it with action. That is courage. And would we have the courage in a fight to step up and protect others who might be weaker? That's the principle of the warrior, is to have courage. Heroic courage. The samurai would be the first in battle to pull his sword out to fight for someone who was weaker on the street. Even if his life was taken, he or she perhaps would have the courage to say, I am going to step forward when no one else would step forward. I am going to step into the battlefield and move forward to victory versus hiding. So in martial arts, do we have courage when a test is coming up? Do we have courage in our personal lives to ask out the woman that we love, or to ask for that new job, and to be the first person to say, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go into business for myself. To heck with it. If I fail, I fail, but I'm going to try, because I would regret if I didn't try. Courage is something I believe is lacking nowadays in many people because of technology. Again, we can hide behind technology. We can hide behind a computer screen. We can hide behind a mouse and a keyboard and not show our face. A true warrior would show his face. What you type on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, would you do that face to face with someone who could easily attack you? Probably not. So do we have the courage to put down the keyboard, to not dislike everything that we disagree with, and to actually talk about it and to engage in conversation? whatever our political views are you willing to face talk to someone, perhaps debate them on the issues, rather than just hiding behind a keyboard and deciding what news channel says? This is all about courage, and this is something myself is always working on, and hopefully you guys are working on as well. So we've done Ghee, we've done Re, we've done Yu. Let us go into Meo, which means honor. Meo is honor. Warriors have only one judge of honor and character, and that is themselves. That's a really important statement. Decisions they make and how these decisions are carried out is a reflection of whom they truly are. Your honor is something that you hold to yourself. It's something that we make, something that we create through our actions. It's not something we're born into. So it doesn't matter where you're born, how much money you have. Your word is your honor. And this goes back to respect and dignity. So when I say I'm going to do something, I follow through with it. I am honorable. I am trustworthy with finances and with people's belongings. I don't invade into other people's business as much as I can. Yes, we falter at this, but what kind of honor do we have? Remember that someone is always watching what you do. So my actions are being watched by other people, and they are watching to see if I have honor or if I don't have honor. So this Meo is to live and die with dignity. Everything the samurai did was honorable, which meant he did not. He did things when he believed that they had honor about them. So honor in this case, in the samurai way, probably would have been more about serving the daimyo, serving the master, serving the lord, so to speak. But again, that might not apply nowadays. However, if you're in the military, you would serve your commanders. You would do as they said, because hopefully they have more wisdom and experience, and they know what they're talking about. So if you're a 20-year-old cadet, the 45-year-old seasoned warrior would probably have seen a lot of battle, and I would honor him or her by doing what they said. In the dojo, you might listen to the sensei, which means one who has walked before me. I might want to honor the sensei by doing what they say in class. This might be following your parents' advice. If you are at home and you are kind of a jerk to live with because you don't want to listen to what your parents are telling you, you think you're smarter than them, chances are you're not. Your parents are almost always smarter than you in every way. So honor your parents by listening to what they say, being respectful and considerate, and really taking to heart the knowledge that they're giving you. Yes, they might be giving you tough love, saying, get off your butt and get a job, but listen to your parents. They have made the mistakes that you have made. There's a reason why they're 40, 50, 60, 70. It's because they have lived through the crap of life that you haven't lived through yet. So having respect is about saying, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I will try it. I might not agree with you, but hey, I'm going to listen to your point of view. So having honor is one of the virtues of Bushido. So let's go into the next one, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope I'm not boring you to death with this stuff. We have done integrity, respect, courage, honor, compassion. Makoto, this is about honesty and sincerity. Makoto. Sincerity. When warriors say that they will perform an action, it is as good as done. Nothing will stop them from completing what they say they will do. They do not have to give their word. They do not have to promise. They just do. Speaking and doing in this code is the same action. When the samurai said, I will take that person there, they did it. When the samurai said, I will protect this person, it was as good as done. You didn't have to worry about it. It was etched in stone. And come hell or high water, that samurai would have done the task at hand. This is about sincerity, Makoto. So let me look in another source here to make sure I am giving you the right thing. Yeah, it's about promising someone. This is about saying, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be sincere. Now, being careful about that, we all have a bad habit of promising people things and then not following through. This is about Makoto, honesty and sincerity. You would agree that if we're not going to make a promise, we shouldn't say anything at all if we're not ready, we're not prepared to make that commitment. So don't tell the girl that you love her and that you'll marry her if you have no intention of following through. Don't tell your teacher you're going to get your black belt if you're going to quit at green belt. Have sincerity in what you say, or don't say anything at all. So don't make any promises to the world. Don't type them. Don't send them into the ether. Don't tell your parents or your friends you're going to do something until you're sure you're going to do it. And that goes back to having courage. When we feel we have the courage to move forward and we're going to be sincere and honest, we're not going to lie about it, then we can say it to the world and hope that the world supports us in what we do. Am I a sincere person? Do I have honesty, or am I constantly lying to people? When I give my promise, is it as good as gold? It is something that people can take to the bank. That is something that a lot of us now, myself included, have to constantly revisit and make sure that I'm not being insincere in what I'm saying and doing. Boy, these are hard to live by nowadays, aren't they? But this is something that we can all work on. Now, Chugi, do I have duty and loyalty? Chugi. Warriors are responsible for everything that they have done and everything that they have said, and all of the consequences that follow. They are immensely loyal to all those in their care. So do we have duty and loyalty anymore? Or is it just about what I want to do in my life? Is it just about being selfish? This Chugi, this was one of the most important things that a samurai could have, was loyalty. You know, when we think about it nowadays, it's very easy again to hide behind the computer and not have to deal with people. We are suffering from social anxiety, agoraphobia, because we're not coming face to face with human beings as much as we used to. It's very easy for all of us to alienate and isolate ourselves in a very solo way of living, a very lonely way of living. And I don't have to have loyalty to anybody if I can hide behind a virtual world. Do we treat people like family? Do we have a moral and ethical system that we can follow? Do we have people that we care about to protect, like our brothers and our sisters? Are we taking care of our family? Are we being loyal to our parents? Are we being loyal to our company that we work for? Or are we backstabbing our company and talking about people and gossiping about those in the office that are sitting next to us who are actually on the same team as us? They want the company to be successful as we do. We are getting paid by this employer, yet sometimes we might backstab them at the water fountain. You know, we want to be careful about that. Am I constantly looking for a new job and screwing over my boss somehow? It's not a good way to go through life. If you don't like where you're working, have the courage and the respect to tell your boss, look, I'm looking for a new job. And then leave with your 2 weeks notice, leave with honor and integrity. Do not burn bridges professionally, or it will come back to bite you, or you won't have a reference for that next job. Try as best we can to leave a job the best way we can. Be honest with everybody. Leave with courage. Leave with your chin up. Leave with a set of hugs versus sneaking out the back door and quitting with dishonor or getting fired for hurting people where you work. This is about loyalty. And again, going back to the martial arts, am I loyal to my school, or do I backtalk people? Do I secretly talk about my teacher behind his or her back and make fun of them for something or promote their faults? Do I take care of my fellow uke and my fellow students, my training partners when I'm on the mat? Do I have loyalty to my school, or am I secretly hurting it for my own personal gain? This is something we can constantly look at. No, we're not samurai, we're not ninja, we're not shinobi, but can I have loyalty? This probably is most important with our family. How do I treat the people that I live with? Why is it that so many of us will treat the person at McDonald's with more respect than we treat the person that we live with? Why is it that I will scream at my mother and father and treat them like dirt half the time, yet when I go out to a restaurant, I'm very polite, or when I meet someone at Walmart or where I shop, I'm very polite with them. I hold the door open, I say, yes, please. And I'm kind and I say good words. And the second that I slam the door and walk into my own house, I'll treat my parents like dirt. This happens everywhere, and we do it with our brothers, we do it with our sisters, we do it with our siblings left and right. And we do it with people at work, and we do it with our friends. Because we're comfortable, we know how to push their buttons and make them angry. But we're not weak enough, we're too weak, we're not strong enough to say, hey, I love you and I support you, and I've been really acting like a jerk lately, and I'm sorry about the way I'm acting around the house. I should be more grateful for having a roof, because I don't pay the bills and I don't pay the mortgage. You do as my parents, and you're putting the food on the table, and you're my boss. You're the one that's giving me my check every week or every 2 weeks or every month. How dare I treat you like that? This is the moral and ethical principles of the warrior that we can all learn from and follow. So going back, we have justice, we have Ghee, we have courage, we have you, we have Jin, we have benevolence and mercy for others, we have Rei, we have respect for ourself and respect for others, we have Makoto, honesty, being honest and truthful. We have Meiyo, which is about honor and integrity. And we have loyalty, which is Chu-gi. These, my friends, are the 7 virtues of Bushido. You may say that these are outdated. You may question these. Some of these may disgust you somehow, and you don't want to listen to anything I'm saying because you're a know-it-all, and you're the smartest person in the world, and you're the best martial artist, and you're the nicest son and the best husband, and your crap don't stink, and you are a powerful keyboard warrior, and Mr. Norcross is an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about. By all means, go through your life and ignore these 7 virtues of the warrior. But I myself and my teachers and my students and my family and friends have all found value and virtue in each one of these principles. Chu, Makoto, Jin, Meiyo, Yu, Rei, Ghee. These are the 7 principles that I want to live my life with. And yes, I make mistakes on every single one of them, almost every day. But hey, knowing what these are is half the battle. And knowing that I can improve these, I have the power to change, is what makes these a beautiful way of going through life. And a really powerful, ethical, moral way of life. This is a powerful code. This is a powerful path, a real do, a path that I can follow and that I can believe in. And there's so much to work on here. These 7 codes have 7 decades of work. So you're never going to be bored. We're always going to be educating ourselves and learning new things. So this is a fantastic thing. I hope, my friends, that you have listened to this. Maybe we can question what we do when we turn this off and we turn our computer off and we go and deal with our family and friends, especially on a holiday weekend, Thanksgiving time, holidays, Christmas, all of these holidays, New Year, where we're going to be around family and friends and co-workers. Can we treat them with a little more respect than we did yesterday? Can we see both sides of the argument when we're in one? Or can we just let it go and drop things because it's not worth fighting over? And can we protect and love our friends and our family a little bit more than we did a few minutes ago? All right, my friends, I'm going to turn this off and try to apply these in my life here at the dojo and with family over the holiday weekend. And I hope that together, you and I can apply this in a kind and respectful manner to all those who we love in our life. Till next time, my friends, this is Sensei Norcross from the Dojo Martial Arts. Have a great and safe